Ex-fiance wants to meet up after leaving me at the altar 4 years ago. I'm sitting in my car outside a Starbucks, hands shaking so badly I can barely hold my phone. The text message is still open on my screen. Hey Sarah, I know I have no right to contact you, but I need to explain what happened that day. Can we meet Jay? 4 years. 4 fucking years of therapy, sleepless nights, and trust issues so deep I almost sabotaged the best relationship of my life. And now he wants to explain? Like there's any explanation that could make abandoning me in my wedding dress okay. Let me back up because typing this out might be the only thing keeping me from driving to his place and keying his car, if he even still has that stupid Accord he loved more than me. I met Jay when I was 22, fresh out of college and working my first real job at a marketing firm downtown. He was the IT guy who fixed my computer when I accidentally deleted half our client database. Don't ask. Classic meet cute, right? He was charming, funny, had this way of making me feel like I was the only person in the room. My friends loved him, my family adored him, even my dad, who hated every guy I'd ever brought home, was planning fishing trips with him by month 3. We dated for 3 years before he proposed. It wasn't fancy, he cooked my favorite meal, badly, but it's the thought that counts, and got down on one knee in our tiny apartment kitchen. I said yes before he even finished asking. Wedding planning was surprisingly smooth. Jay was involved, but not overbearing, helped pick venues, tasted every cake sample with me. His only weird request was insisting his ultra-conservative family had to be invited, even though I'd maybe met them twice and they made it clear I wasn't their type of girl. I have tattoos and once told his mother I didn't want kids immediately, after marriage. Apparently that made me Satan. The wedding day started perfectly. My bridesmaids and I got ready at the venue, popping champagne at 9 a.m., because why not? My dress fit like a glove, my hair cooperated for once, and the weather was this gorgeous 75-degree sunny day in October. I remember looking in the mirror thinking I'd never been happier. Then, about 10 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, Marcus, Jay's best man, knocked on the bridal suite door. His face was white as my dress. Sarah, I need to talk to you. Alone. My stomach dropped, but I thought maybe Jay was just having normal pre-wedding jitters. Marcus led me to a small room down the hall, and I'll never forget the words. He's gone. Jay left about 20 minutes ago. Took his car, won't answer anyone's calls. I'm so sorry. I laughed. Actually laughed because surely this was some elaborate prank. Jay loved pranks, but Marcus's face didn't change, and I realized he was serious. The next few hours were a blur. My sister had to tell 150 guests there wouldn't be a wedding. My dad looked ready to commit murder. My mom held me while I sobbed so hard I threw up on my $3,000 dress. When I finally got back to our apartment that night, still in my wedding dress because I was too numb to change, everything of his was gone. His clothes, his gaming setup, even the stupid cactus he'd named Gerald. The only thing left was the engagement ring I'd put on the kitchen counter and the apartment full of memories. The aftermath was hell. I had to field hundreds of what happened texts, return wedding gifts, cancel the honeymoon to Bali we'd saved 2 years for. Except my best friends, God bless them, staged an intervention. Fuck him, my friend Mia said, holding up our plane tickets. We're going to Bali, drinking everything, and posting so many hot photos he'll regret being born. Best decision ever. For 2 weeks, I let myself grieve on beautiful beaches, got day drunk on mojitos, and even flirted with an Australian surfer named Chase who helped me remember I was desirable. The girls made sure I didn't do anything too stupid. Though I did. Get a small tattoo of a phoenix on my ankle. Subtle, right? But coming home was hard. I threw myself into therapy because I couldn't trust anyone. Every date felt like a trap. What if they left too? What if I was too much? Not enough? My therapist, bless her patience, worked through my abandonment issues, helped me realize Jay's actions said nothing about my worth. 2 years later, I met David at a friend's barbecue. He was nothing like Jay, quieter, steadier, the kind of guy who texted when he said he would and showed up early to dates. When I finally told him about the wedding disaster 6 months in, expecting him to run, he just held me and said, his loss. I can't imagine anyone lucky enough to marry you walking away. We've been together for 2 years now. He knows my triggers, doesn't push when I need space, and has proven over and over that he's not going anywhere. We're talking about moving in together, and for the first time since Jay, I'm not terrified of the future. Which brings me to today. This fucking text. My mutual friend Ashley, who I'm seriously reconsidering friendship with, apparently ran into Jay at some recovery meeting and gave him my number. Recovery meeting. So add addiction to the list of things he was hiding? I have a lot to explain to me about what happened that day. You think? You think there's an explanation for humiliating me in front of everyone I love? For making me question everything about myself? For the panic attacks I still get sometimes when David is 5 minutes late without texting? I showed David the message immediately. We don't do secrets. His response was so perfectly him. Whatever you decide, I support you. But remember, you don't owe him anything. Not your time, not your forgiveness, nothing. Part of me wants to ignore it, block the number, pretend Jay is still the ghost he chose to become. That's what Reddit would probably tell me to do. No contact. He made his choice. Don't let him drag you back. And they'd be right. But there's this other part. Probably the masochistic part that still checks his old social media through fake accounts. Shut up. We all have our unhealthy coping mechanisms. That needs to know why. Was there another woman? Man? Was I such a terrible partner he literally couldn't face marrying me? Did his family threaten him? Was he sick? In witness protection? I've had 4 years to come up with increasingly ridiculous theories. My sister thinks I'm insane for even considering it. Sarah, what could he possibly say that would make it better? He's probably just at step 8 or whatever in AA and needs to make amends to feel better about himself. This isn't about you. She's probably right, but closure is a hell of a drug, and I've been withdrawing for 4 years. I've typed and deleted 50 responses, from fuck off and die to when and where, currently sitting at I need time to think about this. Haven't sent anything yet. What would you do? And please, for the love of God, someone tell me I'm not crazy for being tempted. I've worked so hard to move on, to be happy, to trust again. Is potentially getting answers worth risking all that? Or am I just opening old wounds for someone who already proved I wasn't worth basic human decency? David just brought me tea and kissed my forehead before heading to his night shift. He's a nurse because of course I found the kindest man alive. Whatever you decide, he said again. I'll be here when you get home. I don't deserve him. But then again, I didn't deserve what Jay did either. Maybe that's growth. Knowing your worth regardless of how others treat you. Still don't know what to do about this text though. Help? Update. Okay, so I know most of you told me not to meet him. Like literally hundreds of comments saying, don't do it. He doesn't deserve your time. This is about him, not you. I read every single one. Screenshotted the best advice. To read when I felt weak. I lasted exactly 3 days. I know, I'm an idiot. But hear me out. After posting here, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'd be at work trying to focus on campaigns, and suddenly I'd remember some weird moment from our relationship that didn't make sense at the time. Like how he'd sometimes come home from guys' night smelling like cologne that wasn't his. Or how he'd get irrationally angry when I'd surprise him at work with lunch. Tiny red flags I'd painted green because I was so in love. My therapist actually encouraged me to consider meeting him. Plot twist, right? She said, and I quote, Sarah, you've been carrying this unknown for 4 years. If you think answers might help you fully close this chapter, that's valid. Just go in with realistic expectations and support. So I texted him back. I'll give you 30 minutes, public place, I'm bringing someone with me. His response was immediate. Thank you, I understand. Name the time and place. We agreed on Saturday afternoon at Riverside Park. Lots of people. Around easy escape routes. Yes, I mapped them out in advance, don't judge me. I asked David to come. Sweet man didn't even hesitate. I'll bring a book and sit on a bench nearby. Hand signal if you need me to intervene. God, I love him. Saturday. Came too fast. I changed outfits 5 times, finally settling on jeans and the leather jacket that makes me feel badass. Probably spent an hour on makeup just to look like I wasn't wearing any. Wanted that perfect, I'm thriving without you glow. David just smiled and told me I looked beautiful, reminding me I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. I saw Jay before he saw us. He was sitting on a bench near the fountain, and my first thought was how different he looked. Thinner, older, wearing clothes that actually fit instead of the baggy hoodies he lived in. He was fidgeting with something in his hands. Looked like a sobriety chip. You good? David asked, squeezing my hand. No, I said honestly. But let's do this. David kissed my temple and found a bench about 50 feet away, pulling out his book but keeping us in peripheral vision. I approached slowly, giving myself time to bail if needed. Jay looked up when I was about 10 feet away, and his face just crumpled. Sarah, you came. Yeah, well, curiosity killed the cat and all that. I sat on the opposite end of the bench, maintaining maximum distance. You have 30 minutes. Talk. He took a deep breath, still fidgeting with that chip. I'm in recovery, 18 months sober. Part of the program is making amends to people we've hurt. So this is step 8 or 9 or whatever. My sister fucking called it 9. But that's not, yes, it's part of it, but I've wanted to reach out for years. He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture so familiar it hurt. I didn't think I deserved to. Still don't. On that, we agree. But I'm here now, so whatever you need to say to clear your conscience or whatever, say it. He winced. I deserve that. I deserve worse. Sarah, fuck. I practiced this so many times, but looking at you now, you look good. Happy. No thanks to you. Get to the point, Jay. What was so bad you had to leave me at the altar instead of just calling off the wedding like a human being? What came next was not what I expected. Not even close. I'm gay. I stared at him. Of all the scenarios I'd imagined, affair, cold feet, secret family, terminal illness, this wasn't even on the list. I'm gay, he repeated, quieter now. I've known since I was 15. But my family? You met them. You know what they're like. When my cousin came out, they disowned him. Haven't spoken to him in a decade. I thought I could. I thought if I just tried hard enough, loved you enough, I could make myself straight. My mind was racing, recontextualing every moment of our relationship. The lackluster sex life I blamed on stress. The way he'd tense up during romantic scenes in movies. How he'd always been more comfortable with grand gestures than actual intimacy. So you knew. The whole time we were together, you knew? Yes. His voice cracked. And I did love you, Sarah. Just not the way you deserved. You were my best friend. Were. Fuck, I don't have the right to call you that anymore. You're right. You don't. I was surprised by how steady my voice sounded when inside I was screaming. So what changed? What made that specific day the breaking point? He was crying now, silent tears rolling down his face. I met someone, 3 months before the wedding. Marcus's new coworker, Ryan. We were just friends at first, but it was like finally understanding why people write love songs. Everything I'd been trying to force with you just happened naturally with him. Each word was like a knife, but I needed to hear it. All of it. I tried to end it. Told myself I'd made a commitment to you, that I could be happy enough. But the closer the wedding got, Ryan told me he loved me the night before. Said he'd wait for me to be ready, even if it took years. But seeing him at the rehearsal dinner, pretending he was just Marcus's +1, knowing I was about to promise my life to someone else. So you ran. So I ran, like a fucking coward. Ryan picked me up from the venue. We drove for hours while I hated myself. The original plan was just to clear my head, come back and talk to you like an adult. But then I started getting the texts. From your dad, your sister, my parents. I panicked. By the time we stopped driving, I couldn't face what I'd done, so I just kept running. Where did you go? I don't know why that mattered, but it did. Ryan's apartment, 2 towns over. Pathetic, right? All that drama, and I was basically just across the county line. We lasted 8 months before the guilt destroyed everything. He couldn't handle being the reason I'd hurt you. I couldn't handle being myself. Started drinking, then pills, then whatever made me feel numb. I thought about David waiting nearby, steady and sure and choosing me every single day. Good. I hope it hurt. It did. It does. Sarah, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I needed you to know it was never about you. You were perfect. You were everything anyone could want in a partner. I was just too much of a coward to admit I could never be what you needed. You know what the worst part is? I could feel my own tears starting. It's not even that you're gay. It's that you didn't trust me enough to tell me. Did you really think so little of me that you believed I'd out you to your family? That I wouldn't have supported you? No, Sarah, I knew you'd be supportive. That's what made it worse. You would have been amazing about it, and I couldn't handle that kind of grace when I'd been lying to you for years. We sat in silence for a moment. In the distance, I could see David glance up from his book, checking on me. I gave him a small wave. I'm okay. Are you still with him? Ryan? Jay shook his head. No, haven't seen him since I got sober. He reached out once, but I needed to fix myself first. Figure out who I am without substances, without lies. I'm not dating anyone. Probably won't for a while. Your family? Haven't spoken to them since that day. They know, though. Someone saw Ryan and me together, word got back. Got a lovely letter about how I'm going to hell. So that's fun. Despite everything, I felt a tiny pang of sympathy, immediately followed by anger at myself for feeling it. I have panic attacks, I said suddenly. When people are late without texting. When plans change suddenly. I spent 6 months convinced every relationship would end with abandonment. I still check exits when I enter rooms, plan escape routes in case I need them. Do you understand what you did to me? I'm not finished. I threw up on my wedding dress. My dad spent months wanting to hunt you down. My mom cried every night for weeks. My sister had to move in with me because I couldn't handle being alone in our apartment. The apartment where you let me plan our future while you were falling in love with someone else. Each word seemed to hit him physically. Good. But you know what? I survived. I went to Bali with my girls and remembered who I was without you. I got therapy. I learned to trust again. And I met someone who looks at me the way you apparently looked at Ryan. Someone who chooses me every day, who isn't running from himself or his truth. I'm glad, he whispered. You deserve that. You deserve everything. Yeah, I do. I stood up, suddenly exhausted. I'm done here. Don't contact me again. Wait. He pulled out an envelope from his pocket. I know money doesn't fix anything, but it's what I can offer. For the wedding costs, the therapy, everything. I looked at the envelope for a long moment, then took it. Not because I needed his money, but because, yes, therapy is expensive, and he should pay for some of it. This doesn't make us even, I said. I know, nothing could. Sarah, thank you. For coming today. For listening. For being you. I hope your life is beautiful. I walked away without responding. Straight to David. He stood immediately, tucking his book away and opening his arms. I fell into them and finally let myself really cry. Want to talk about it? He asked softly. Not yet. Just hold me for a minute. So he did, right there in the park, while strangers walked by and life went on around us. When I finally pulled back, he wiped my tears with his thumbs and smiled. Home? Home. Can we get Thai food? Already ordered it from your favorite place. Should arrive right when we get there. How did you? Never mind. I love you. I love you too. Later that night, after I'd told David everything and cried again and eaten too much pad CU, I did something I hadn't been able to do in 4 years. I deleted Jay's number, deleted the screenshots of his old social media, threw away the box of relationship mementos I'd hidden in the closet. It wasn't the closure I'd imagined. There was no dramatic confrontation, no revenge, no moment where he realized what he'd lost and begged for me back. Just a broken man trying to make amends for choices that broke us both. But maybe that's enough. Maybe closure isn't about getting justice or answers that satisfy. Maybe it's just about finally being able to let go of the questions. I kept the envelope, though. Therapy isn't cheap, and my therapist is definitely earning her money helping me process this shit. 2 weeks later, so I thought that would be the end of it. Jay apologized. I got my answers, however unsatisfying. We went our separate ways. Story over, right? Wrong. Because apparently my life is a soap opera now. Remember how Jay mentioned his family found out about him and Ryan? Well, turns out they've been stalking my social media through fake accounts. I really need to make my Instagram private. They saw my post from David's birthday dinner last week. Nothing crazy. Just a cute selfie with the caption, "Lucky to celebrate this amazing man." Guess who got a DM from Jay's mother? "Sarah, I see you've moved on from my son. I suppose you couldn't handle a real man who wouldn't bend to your liberal agenda. He's better off without someone who drove him to such confusion. I pray you find God before it's too late." I screenshot it immediately and sent it to my group chat. The responses were immediate. Mia. The audacity. Lisa. Is she seriously blaming you for him being gay? Anna. I will fight her in a Denny's parking lot. My sister. Give me her address. I just want to talk. But the best response came from the most unexpected place. Jay himself, who apparently still follows my friend's account and saw her story where she posted the screenshot with some choice words about his family. "Sarah, I am so sorry. My mother has no right to contact you. I've told her to leave you alone. But if she continues, please let me know and I'll handle it. You don't deserve any more hurt from my family. Jay. P.S. Your boyfriend seems great. I'm happy for you." I didn't respond, but I did appreciate him trying to manage his family's crazy. David saw the whole exchange and his only comment was, "Your ex has terrible taste in families but good taste in women. Have I mentioned I love this man?" The weird thing? Getting that message from his mom actually helped. It reminded me that Jay wasn't just some villain who decided to hurt me for fun. He was a scared kid from a horrible family trying to be someone he wasn't. Doesn't excuse what he did, but it does explain it. My therapist is thrilled with my growth and perspective. She actually used this whole situation as an example of how healing isn't linear. Sometimes you need to revisit the wound to properly clean it, or something like that. I was distracted by her new plant that looks like it's dying. In other news, David and I put an offer on a condo. It has this amazing balcony where we can grow herbs and watch sunsets. The seller accepted, so assuming inspection goes well, we'll be homeowners by summer. When I told him I was nervous about such a big step, he said, "The only thing I'm nervous about is whether we should get a cat or a dog first." We're getting both, obviously. It's funny. 4 years ago, I thought my life was over. Dramatic. Sure, but that's how it felt standing in that venue in a wedding dress with no groom. I thought Jay was my happy ending, that without him, I'd never trust again, never love again, never be chosen again. But maybe he was just a chapter. A really shitty, poorly written chapter with an abrupt ending, but still just a chapter. And honestly, the story got so much better after he left. I'm not grateful he left me at the altar. That was cruel and cowardly, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But I am grateful for where it led me. To therapy, to growth, to friends who flew across the world to help me heal, to a man who proves every day that love isn't supposed to feel like anxiety. Jay texted me one last time after his mom's message. I'm getting them to back off. Moving forward with my life. I hope you do the same. You deserve peace. This time I did respond. Already have. Good luck with yours. Then I blocked his number. Not out of anger or spite, but because that chapter is finally, truly closed. I don't need to know how his story ends. I'm too busy writing my own. And for anyone reading this who's been blindsided by someone they trusted, it gets better. Not easier, not quickly, but better. You'll always carry the scar, but eventually it stops being the first thing you think about in the morning. Eventually, you'll trust again. Love again. Eventually, you'll realize that someone else's inability to choose you says nothing about whether you're worth choosing. Even if it takes a really awkward park bench conversation 4 years later to fully get there. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go pick out paint colors with my boyfriend who's never left me anywhere, except in charge of the TV remote when he goes to get snacks. And honestly, that's the kind of leaving I can live. With C. Edit. Thank you for all the support, Reddit. When I first posted, I expected maybe a dozen people to tell me I was crazy. Instead, hundreds of you shared your own stories, offered advice, or just reminded me I wasn't alone. The internet can be a hellscape, but sometimes strangers on Reddit are exactly what you need. And for those asking, yes, we're getting a cat first, David's already picked out names. Send help.